We're here today at Detailing Dynamics in Mineola, New York, and we're wrapping a brand new BMW i8. Just cleaning cars from dirty to clean. That was the original passion of everything. In '99, we got introduced to the paint protection film. We were probably the second shop in the country that ever touched that material from 3M. We saw the value in the product of protecting cars. After the paint protection film, we started getting into more like vinyl wraps. In 2006, we started getting involved with electronics work. It took all these years to basically perfect one step, go to the next one, perfect it, go to the next one, perfect it. We don't jump into everything at once. We look for the quality, not for the, not for profit or for how much money it costs. The service provided has to be worth the price that's being paid. The first time I saw the car in person, I was amazed what they did with it, because I've seen these cars done as concepts that look like Star Wars vehicles, and so futuristic, and they're just concepts with no engines and nothing in them. And now this is actually a car you can get in and drive, and it looks out of this world. It really is. The lines of the car, they're incredible. Today we actually protecting the car and in a way changing its appearance. We're using the XPEL Technologies Ultimate Film, which is a nanotechnology coating self-healing material. Fine scratches and lines, when they appear, after they get heated up by sun or hot water or a heat gun, they'll disappear. The material comes in two different versions. One of them is a gloss finish and one of them is a satin finish. We're using the satin finish clear on all the blue sections of the car to mat it out, and then we're going to use the gloss finish on all the black parts of the car. And then the plan is to have red accents around the car to enhance some of the lines. The designers of the car, they wanted the car to have certain lines. And a lot of times you only see them on paper. When you look at sometimes those sketches that they show of cars, you see all these lines everywhere. But when you look at the car in person, they disappear sometimes because of the shine of the paint. You just don't see them. What we do is we try to accent some of them to bring them back out there. So almost like looking at that sketch, but in real life now. The car has to be washed before we do the film. Free of any wax, fillers, glaze, compounds. Once the car comes inside, we take all the parts off. Everything gets wiped down with a 50% water, 50% alcohol mixture to remove the final little grease spots of the edges. We blow out all the corners, everything gets blown out, wipes it down again with the 50-50. Then we rinse it with a 60-40% alcohol solution to rinse the final little particle of dust. We rinse them off, and then it starts the actual process of application of the film. XPEL Technologies came out with a special gel to help us apply the film. The purpose of the gel is to keep the film floating. It helps us reposition the material, and then once the squeegee goes over it, it just sticks. The challenge is the lines. They have a lot of very, very sharp turns and edges on the car, and they're very short. Now, the paint protection film material, when it's being applied, you have to physically stretch it. And if that surface is not enough to hold the material to roll back, it would roll back. So it's a challenge to basically stretch it over the big portion and at the end release the tension to make sure that a month or two later on, you won't have wrinkles coming back on the film. Overall, like if you look at the hood of the car, it looks pretty flat piece. That's not a problem. But when you look at the bumpers, the fenders, is where it's intricate because you gotta do a small piece, finish it up and trim it. We do also another thing that a lot of people don't do nowadays, we actually finish the material on the car. There is ways to do film, there's two different ways. One is with pre-cut kits, which are advertised as custom fit to the vehicle, but the issue is that then you don't get the edges wrapped. You have seams going all around. What we do is we basically do a rough pre-cut pieces ourselves, we put them on the car, we wrap the edges, and then we trim the material on the vehicle. It takes between 2 and 3 years before we can say somebody's ready to trim on a car. Like it took me almost 3 years before I was mend up enough to cut the customer's car, to get on the car and cut the film there. To only score halfway and the rest it rips. It's the scariest moment of everybody that ever did film. There's only a few companies out there that I know that can do it the way it's supposed to be done. Because one day this material has to come off the car. You don't want to see cut lines everywhere. There's quite a few vehicles out there that we've done, and then the designs have been copied throughout the whole world. We don't copy other people's designs. That's one thing with us. And once we do a design for a client, we don't repeat it to somebody else, unless the customer agrees. Like I would call them and ask them, would you mind, somebody saw this, they really like it. Because a lot of times, like we're on Long Island, it's a tight circle of people. Nobody wants to pull up with a car that looks exactly the same as the guy next to him. What's the point of customizing a car then? So what we do is we try to come up everything always on our own. Fortunately enough, we get a lot of brand new cars that are out there that are just coming out. So nobody really had the chance to touch them yet. So we'll be kind of like pioneers in doing a lot of things for the first time. Every car has its own hard and easy sections. The cars that have the most difficult ones, I'd say the Veneno, I'd say the Pagani. Lately Lexus, believe it or not, with their front bumpers, they really didn't care about us when they designed that car. It looks awesome on the road. But when we get it here, Lexus, we always go, oh God, no. There are training classes available through different manufacturers, through Expel, through 3M. You can, go and take a training course for 3-4 days. But to really learn and know how to do paint protection film or vinyl wrapping, it takes years, and there's no school for that. So all it takes is patience. When we hire new employees, we always tell them, all we want from them is to be here on time and to be ready to learn. Yes, there's YouTube videos online, but until somebody gets their hands on this and try to do it themselves, they're not gonna know how difficult it is to get it done right. If somebody wants to get into it, I would say it's an awesome business to be in. It just takes a lot of patience to perfect it. That's all.